change adaptation and risk management in Africa. So we're given 40 minutes on this session, and I'll be speaking for 10 minutes. And all the 20 minutes will be a group work just to capture some recommendations that we want to add on the outcome of the whole session. I will share you the group topics, and then I'll give you an introduction of this, which gives you a highlight of what all we're going to talk about. Help me. Okay, so I'm sure most of us have been involved in climate change related issues at our country level, and necessarily you see in Africa, but we're not going to talk much more about Africa alone, but we would like to hear also from other people from other regions as well, Asia, Europe, or the Americas, so that we will be able to catalog the various experiences and recommendations from your country level or region as well. So I'll be sharing you the perspective of Africa, just a background. Realizing based on climate change, Africa's economy is concentrated in climate sensitive sectors. Like most of our revenues, most of our incomes at the African level are being affected by climate change, and most of the time also at the country level also there are a lot of limited experiences in terms of technical experiences and knowing the cause of climate change, and it takes a lot of the country's money to spend on getting expertise from outside, and this goes year round and round and round. So 70% of African countries also incomes comes from agriculture as well. And we all know that agriculture is very affected when it comes to climate change as well in African context. So this is just an introduction of the main topic, and it reads climate change poses serious. So you could see that when we talk about climate change, there are a lot of issues that comes out linking it to the SDGs. You could see that poverty is linked to climate change as well, and the quality of life as well, political stability in the world. We could see a lot of time, there are a lot of controversies when it comes to politics about linking climate change to our national development plans as well. So you could see most African countries don't prioritize climate change. In fact, most of them see it as a science-related issue and has nothing to do with what they are working on. They tend to pick out poverty as the main issue of Africa, which is very right, but also directly or indirectly also, climate change has a link to poverty as well. So according to the IPCC, Africa is the most vulnerable continent to climate and climate variability, and the situation is aggravated by the interaction of multiple stresses occurring at the various levels, compounded by low adaptive capacity. Adaptation also is an issue that Africa is facing in terms of resources available to actually put in adaptation measures. So we are resource constraints as well, and this makes it very hard as well. And looking at also the religious context at African level, most time it does not fit in. You know, the religious background has its own perspective when it comes to climate change. the political aspect. So all this compounded makes it very difficult for the advocacy of climate change at African point of view. So the other background extensively, the health impacts from climate change are expected to be particularly serious in Central and Southern Africa. Climate damages as a percentage of the GDP, like I said, our agriculture, because like in the Gambia, our main source of income is agriculture as well. So you could see that there is a large agricultural yield fall around, is anticipated in the Central Southern Africa, Zimbabwe, Zambia, Angola, according to the AFDB as well. So it also says the Southwestern Africa is expected to see a decrease in water availability of more than 10% as a result of climate change. For those of us who followed the news, you could, of recent this year in South Africa, there was scarcity of, water resources as well. So you can see that that has a link to climate change as well. But the issue is, how do we catalog climate change in the local context language to make them experience, to make them understand, by using all these effects around, like the scarcity of water, how do you explain it to them for them to understand it? Like at the government level, you could see that most time when we have foreign expertise that come, they can express these languages in the local language. So local people tend to see it as a scientific view and so on. So this is, this is just a snapshot of the damages that happened in summer 2017, last year. And you could see the earthquake, a landslide that kills about over 200 in Congo, and in Sierra Leone as well of recent, whereby millions of dollars was invested in the country. But still yet, you could see that the people still complain. They did not see the compensation. They did not know how the measures is put in place, and the cycle goes round and round and round again. So as CSOs, as NGOs also, we should also take into consideration how do stakeholders get this funding, and how do we monitor it? Does it really reflect to the right job, or is it really solving, or does it worth it to take grants and so on? So we look at all that to come up with contributions from the various groups. So you could see also, this is from the IDMC. It gives actually just a summary of last year also. It says in the first 6 months of 2017, conflict and DRR issues, force women and men and children to leave their homes as well. So this is from the IDMC. And we also look at the Africa's internal obstacles to accessing climate finance. For those of us who are involved in the COPs, you could see how Africans struggle, the LDCs, how they struggle in terms of seeking for adaptation funds as well. So you could see that in most time, because we have change of governments, most of the time delegates from government level lack the capacity to negotiate, to lobby, and sometimes get the wrong people to do the job. So you could see the obstacles may be government often lack the capacity to meet international standards and fund eligibility requirements. And other point of obstacle could be the relevant agencies often struggle with governance and coordination in leveraging existing climate change resources. As well, good governance is also something that it's really an obstacle at the country level. So also also our regulatory reforms, policies, and related national development plans and investment priorities are weak in most cases as well. And most time our policies does not link to the requirements of accessing these funds as well. So it takes a lot of work to go back and readjust, and whilst they fail in getting the cash. So the challenges to adaptation in Africa could be underlining the development challenges. It could be education, it could be governance, it could be health, infrastructure, and poor historical records. For like my country, we have a poor historical record in terms of data. When you go to Bureau of Statistics, there are informations that you cannot actually find. So this require us to go over and over, having research done by different experts over and over, and at the end of the day, there is no work done. So poor current weather data as well. As you know, it's also a challenge in Africa, and poorly adapted to current conditions. Like I said, adaptation also is a very big issue that Africa faces in terms they don't have the adequate resources in most time to adapt to such issues. Numerous, there are a lot of issues revolving around the challenges of adaptation in Africa. So we have group work. The first, we have 5 that we'll be looking at. Basically, we want to capture what had been happening in your various regions, and you could share your best practices. We want to learn from you and see what had worked and how do we actually add value to it, come up with recommendation as well to see how best we can counter all these issues around climate change and risk. And so, so the introduction to the group work is, there is a real, so like basically we are looking at how do we link it to the SDG 6.9 as well, which talks about more of the DRR climate change risk as well. So this on your decks, it will actually give you a background of what is expected and how we can actually work some possible solutions as well. But we will recommend that each group have one person to coordinate it and another person to actually do the present the outcome of the work. So group 1 will look at accessing adaptation finance. So we are looking at the remaining barriers and ways to overcome them. We want to know, what do you think the barriers are, and how do you think we can overcome them as a team? So these are guiding questions that could guide you on how to go about it, what to talk about, and how to come about these issues out. So group 2 will look at integrating adaptation in development. What does it mean, and what does it take in terms of adaptation finance as well? So you have some guiding questions that will guide you to come about outcomes. The third group will look at the role of the private sector, which is very key in most time. So how can it intensify resilience building? How do we bring about the private, public, and how do we engage them? Because you could see that they have the money in most cases, and when they are engaged and involved, there is greater outcome in most time. So the fourth group will look at the role of climate information and effective measures to build resilience in Africa to adapt to climate change. So the fourth group will look at that as well, and we see how we can come up with good outcomes. The last but not the least, enabling environments. We're looking at how national institutional arrangements for effective deployment of adaptation finance. How is it used? Where do we get it from? Is it how we monitor them? And how it actually reflects on the lives of the people most affected as well. So you have 20 minutes to dialogue over this, and you will have 2 to each to actually do your outcome present at the end. Julie? They have the papers? The question is, okay. So we're looking at the findings and what you recommend from the various groups as well.
So who is in group 1? Which one is group 1? We are 5. The paper is written. We have 5.
Yeah, because then that will then go and give 10 minutes to wrap up.
It's a good exercise.
Is that
So you're looking for the